to the presentation of the 2021 Canadian River Heritage Award. Welcome both our online guests. Yes, we're waving at Bobbi Rose right now. It's a whack crowd, I tell you. So I'd like to acknowledge that we're speaking to you from the traditional territory, the Quanlin Dün Council, and the Kwanlin Dün First Nation here in Whitehorse, Yukon Territory. The First Nations are allowing us to do this today and sharing their traditional territories. I'd also like to acknowledge that today is the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Landscapes Women, December 6th. So we're now in the Kwanlin Dün Cultural Centre in front of a Canadian. That's part of our story. So the Canadian River Heritage Award is a partnership of the Canadian Heritage River System and the Canadian Canoe Museum located in Whitehorse, Ontario. We've got a few folks both online and in present, so I'll just say who's here. We have Vicki Grant, who's the chair of the Canadian Canoe Museum Board. Vicki Grant is from the Loon clan, and I'm going to try and say this. You'll get that for May Agama Ashnabi, deep water woman, whose traditional territory is in the Tomato area of Northern Ontario. Throughout her career, Vicki has always spoken with a passionate voice, and in her work and in her volunteer activities has always been and continues to be an advocate for Indigenous engagement. We also have James Bradley, the Director of External Relations at the Canadian Canoe Museum. James has been a part of the museum since its inception, having held a number of roles, including most recently Director of Development and Director Emeritus. He served as the Executive Director from 2008 to 2014 and the Curator in 2007, and worked on the First Education Program in 1999. He's a celebrated author and numerous books, including Circling the Midnight Sun, Culture and Change in the Invisible Arctic. Okay, so Bobbi Rose. I'm not going to say any more because there's going to be lots more about her later. She is the recipient of our award. I'm going to make sure I say her name right. Bobbi Rose Koe. I got it right. And I am Mike Etches. I'm chair of the Canadian Heritage River Systems Board, and I'm super happy to introduce the next speaker, and that will be Vicki from the Canadian Canoe Museum to talk a bit about the Canadian Heritage River System Partnership.
Am I on? Hi, it is a great honor to be here on behalf of the Canadian Canoe Museum and as a partner in the first presentation of the 2021 Canadian River Heritage Award ceremony. Victoria Grant Indigenous, Timiagma Anishinaabe, Mong and Doden. My name is Victoria Grant. I am a Timiagma Anishinaabe woman, woman of the Deepwater people, and my clan is Loon clan. I became involved with the museum about 3 years ago. And as I think through about why I did that, I as an Anishinaabe woman, the canoe and the water for me are teaching tools to tell us about the stewardship of our natural resources. And stewardship is about taking what you need, using all of it, and leaving enough for those who are coming behind us. The award here today recognizes the invaluable efforts of an individual Canadian to celebrate, protect, and conserve river heritage for future generations. In the original, I guess the birth of this award came from the original recipient was Kirk Whipper, who was the founder of the Canadian Canoe Museum. And there have been many other recipients since then. But as a Temagami woman, I'm going to pay particular tribute to Carol and Bruce Hodgetts, who I have known from the time I was a little girl through most of my life. It's wonderful that we've changed and broadened the award with the blessing of the Mason family, still remembering the remarkable commitment and life of Bill Mason, for whom the award's predecessor was named. I had the opportunity to participate in this year's selection process. And I can tell you there are many well-deserving candidates whose names were on that list. It was not an easy decision, and I am very honored to be part of the ceremony today. The board, the Canadian Canoe Museum board, is very pleased to collaborate with the Canadian Heritage River Systems to profile this prestigious award in a fitting way and place by housing it in the Canadian Canoe Museum and working together to promote and honor those nominated for their contributions to Canada's river heritage. The CCM, or the Canadian Canoe Museum, is well on their way to building its new home. We're shovel in the ground and things are beginning to happen. It's all incredibly exciting. And when it's all done, this award will have a place and people will be able to see it in that new museum. I want to particularly honor Bobbi Rose for her nomination, or having read through a nomination. And I met Bobbi Rose once. I know that her and I had many conversations on the phone when we began the Indigenous Peoples Resilience Fund. And I was really hoping that she would have time to spend with us on that. But sometimes we ask people who are much too busy to come join us in starting new initiatives. And so Bobbi Rose, while I know that your heart was in the right place and that you wanted to be with us, I can see from your having participated in this selection process that you have many things you're doing, and I can see why you had to step away. So I'd like to finish by thanking the nominators and the supporters of the award, and to reiterate how pleased and proud the museum is to be partnering in this instance. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki. Really appreciate those kind words. And just switch mics here because Bobbi Rose was having a tough time seeing you through the pole here in this wonderful cultural center. So lots of things holding up the roof over top of us. I'm going to tell a little bit about the award itself. So the Canadian Heritage River Award is offered by the Canadian Heritage River System in partnership with Canadian Canoe Museum. The award recognizes the invaluable efforts of an individual Canadian to celebrate, protect, and conserve river heritage in future generations. And I think, as Vicki said, it's a follow-on from the former Bill Mason Award. And this is the first time that we've been awarded, giving out this award in its new format. First presented in 1994 as the Bill Mason National River Conservation Award, the Canadian River Heritage Award honors an individual who has significantly contributed to river heritage in Canada on a scale large enough to be considered a lifetime achievement. So Bobbi Rose, just want to make sure you don't have to stop your lifetime achievements now because it's pretty early. So, but the board unanimously thought what you've done so far is enough for at least one lifetime. Canadian Heritage River System and the board is pleased to collaborate with Canadian Canoe Museum. And the Canadian Heritage River System has been in place since 1980s and has celebrated some of our most iconic and celebrated rivers in Canada, including the Bonnet Plume up in the Peel watershed. I feel like maybe Bobbi Rose has been there. I think, as Vicki said, they're working on a new museum. This award will be housed in the Canoe Museum in Peterborough, and it'll be alongside of a number of other recipients who you might have heard of. Mr. Bill Reid, Haida artist and sculptor, was a recipient in 1998, and a lesser known guy, Mr. Pierre Elliott Trudeau, former Prime Minister of Canada, received the award in 2001. So you're in kind of dodgy company, I'd have to say, Bobbi Rose, depending on your politics. The award itself is represented by a paddle, more about that later, and a certificate, but I'd like to have James Raffin now on to say a little bit about our recipient. And James, if you could join us.
Thank you very much, Mike. Hello, Bobbi Rose. Hello, everybody. I'm coming to you from the crossover territory of the Haudenosaunee and the Mississauga in Kingston, Ontario. I would have been coming to you from my home where there's a documented portage that's at least 6,000 years old up the road, but the vagaries of rural internet being what they are, I have taken the advantage of the fantastic internet at our daughter's place in Kingston. So hello, delighted to be here. I want to say thank you to Adil Darvesh and everybody at CPAWS Yukon at the Kwanlin Dün Cultural Centre for pulling off this virtual / live award. It's weird, but it's fantastic to be here to honor one of the most remarkable women I have met in my short life. Bobbi Rose is a proud and capable Teetl'it Gwich'in woman born in Fort McPherson, Northwest Territories, and raised by her grandparents Rosemary and Abraham Koe and Dorothy and Robert Alexi Sr., and of course by her community. And it was those experiences growing up that I think were key in Bobbi Rose getting connected to the lands and the rivers of her homeland. And the reason why I know that is that in 2007, I was a staffer on Students on Ice, a program to bring Northern youth together. And as a kind of a last minute thing, Bobbi Rose, we can check this. I think you had maybe 20 minutes to decide if you wanted to go on the 2007 Students on Ice Arctic expedition. And the rest of the 20 minutes was to pack if you want. Anyway, you did go, and it was a wonderful thing. And in the process of participating in that expedition, keeping a journal, and that's where you and I connected, exploring the lands and the communities of the Eastern Arctic, you were surrounded by Inuit youth, and you know, being from the Inuvialuit region, you were Dene, you know, and you made it quite clear that your Gwich'inness, if I can say such a thing, was a wonderful addition to that journey. And you made sure that people knew about the Techo watersheds that were your home. And I will say that one of my favorite photos from that trip is taken on a nasty rainy day when we were actually doing artwork as part of a journal thing. And you drew a really interesting picture of your family's camp in the Mackenzie Delta, just downstream from Fort McPherson, if I'm not mistaken. But it was the story that went with it that stuck with me. It was a piece of beautiful art. But if you skip forward to 2015, I think Bobbi Rose was a little clearer about what she wanted to do and how she wanted to spend her life, and she participated on a youth leadership trip organized by CPAWS Yukon. And I know Chris Ryder and the team have had a big part in helping us here, and definitely kindred spirits. But as a result of that trip, some youth came together who were participants on that trip and created the Youth of the Peel, which was a way of galvanizing interest in the Peel watershed and becoming active. And that fledgling organization morphed into the Western Arctic Youth Collective, which, as you probably all know, won the 2020 Youth Arctic Inspiration Prize, $97,000 to continue, among other things, programs dedicated to the mental wellness and community empowerment. And I should add that I know Bobbi Rose is a leader, but her energy is infectious, and she's continuing to work with Northern youth through the Western Arctic Youth Collective, among other organizations, speaking and doing that sort of thing. But I think it's totally remarkable that under the leadership of her colleague, and possibly your cousin, I'm not sure, Angela Coe Blake, has been, the group has been nominated again this year in the Arctic Inspiration Youth category for a proposed Indigenous Youth River Guide training program. So Bobbi Rose occupies a happening world, a happening orbit. And through all this, Bobbi Rose has continued building family and community, and with a quiet and distinctive public voice, she's become a powerful advocate for environmental issues, particularly those concerning the Peel River watershed and the Arctic National Refuge, but not totally dedicated to those, but she speaks on other topics. And she's definitely not shy to speak her mind, and nor is she afraid to stand up for what she believes in, which is inspiring to all concerned. And I will say that among other photographs of Bobbi Rose that speak to me of her tenacity and her character is when the Yukon's First Nations were in the Supreme Court of Canada regarding the Peel River watershed dispute. Bobbi Rose went there, I think, with her grandfather, and it's a photograph of Bobbi Rose standing on the steps of the Supreme Court. And I'm not entirely sure what the look is, Bobbi Rose. It might be pride, it might be defiance, it might be quiet joy. The only thing I know in looking at that and other shots is that you really don't necessarily want to tangle with Bobbi Rose Koe. She is a woman of purpose. And well, anyway, if all that wasn't enough, others have noticed her leadership. In 2020, for example, Students on Ice, having had thousands of students through their programs, awarded her the Alumni Inspiration Award for her work. And building on the success and growing skills, experience, and confidence, this past year saw the launch of her own service and outfitting company called Dinjizu Adventure, powered by her passion and commitment to the land, but also infused with the respect and love and permission of her community. It may be that Bobbi Rose's best work is still ahead. And Mike, your comments about a kind of lifetime achievement award when your life is still getting started, it speaks to the impressiveness of this particular person's incredible path so far. But it may be that the work that's yet to do will be the work for which Bobbi Rose is best known. But her path is clear, and her accomplished to dates in river conservation and advocacy for her community and for her ancestral homelands, they're just impressive. And so for her dedication to the preservation and promotion of Teetl'it Gwich'in traditional ties to the Peel River, watershed and beyond, and for her tireless and exemplary work as an organizer and advocate for youth, as an example, as a leader, the Canadian Heritage Rivers Board, and we're delighted to be in partnership with you and the Canadian Canoe Museum. And yeah, it was a good test this first time around. I was, I think, one of 3 people who nominated Bobbi Rose back in the day, but in the early time of this award, but testing our ethics, I, of course, was not allowed to get anywhere near the selection committee, which is how it should be. So when the selection committee decided to honor Bobbi Rose with this award, I was naturally delighted. I'm proud, and I know that that Bobbi Rose will carry on, and I think she is a credit to her community, to her family, and of course to us at the Canadian Canoe Museum. Back to you, Chairman Mike.
Thanks, James. That was wonderful. And just before we get Bobbi up here to show, and the way she's been described to me is she's not shy, and say a few words. I want to actually speak to the presentation itself. So Bobbi, on your left, there's a certificate that we put together, and the framing guy for that is fantastic. The matting work is really good, myself, because that would all came in together last Friday. So this has been a real, hurry up type of exercise. And I'd like to actually point out that's for you to definitely take home. Now, this sad looking paddle here is standing in place for a beautiful paddle that is now in Canada Post being processed. So James had an artist put together the paddle, useful paddle. I think that's what your criteria was, and try to move heaven and earth and get past the floods in BC. We weren't successful till tomorrow. So in its place is a paddle that I am in the middle of carving. It's a little rough. It still needs to be finished off, kind of like the Peel Regional Watershed Land Use Plan and the establishment of the protected areas there. And kind of like your life, there's lots more to come. So I'd like to now come and offer these things to you. You can hold on to the paddle as a hostage until we get you the real one, or you can give it back to me and tell me to finish carving it. I'm good with both ways.
Mike, I don't know if this microphone is still live.
Oh, we're gonna do a drink now? Okay, okay. I don't know if you guys see this, but all this is like translated into Gwich'in.
Oh, wow.
Can't tell you how good the translation is, and I'm definitely not going to try and say it. Let's see what the names first. Congratulations.
Beautiful.
The ugly paddle.
I don't know if there's any ugly paddles. This is a beautiful paddle.
It'll be a useful paddle. You can see I have some parts where I'm working on it, but it's probably as old as you.
Wow. So you're not kidding.
Beautiful paddle.
It's a work in progress, much like what you've been doing with us. And now I'd like to welcome you to say a few words. Want to put that up? Or you can hold it for support?
No, I need both my hands. Yeah, I need both my hands to speak.
All right, so that is the tangible things. Now I think we have to hear the real things from Bobbi
Oh my
Rose.
God. This, okay, right there. I'd like to do my own introduction in my language. Gwich'in Bobbi Rose Koe, Teetl'it Gwich'in, Teetl'it Gwich'in, Rosemary Koe, Chansat, Dorothy Alexi, Tsitsi, Abraham Koe Senior, Chansat, Robert Alexi Senior. Good afternoon. My name is Bobbi Rose Koe. I'm Teetl'it Gwich'in, meaning people of the headwaters, and I'm from Fort McPherson. My grandparents are Rosemary and Abraham Koe and Dorothy and Robert Alexi. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the land that we work and live on, the Kwanlin Dün and the Tant First Nation. I would really like to say how much I appreciate you all for letting us do the work that we do here in the Yukon and in Whitehorse area. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who came together today and put this all together. I know we've been working on it for weeks, and yeah, I just appreciate you, James, and the board. I know you guys have been busy moving the museum, so to get all this together, I know it's been a lot, and Masicho and to CPAWS for coming out and doing tech. And everything that I do, you guys are always there, just supporting me, so thank you. It's literally. I really didn't expect to be the recipient of this award. I was thinking of the other people in this world that have been doing a lot more work than I've been doing in my short time. But when it comes to the peel, and when I talk about the peel today, it's hard to say that I spent more than half of my life speaking for the peel, and that's a really long time, I feel. But I'm really thankful for that journey and for the people and organizations that nominated me for this award. I feel really honored. I want to acknowledge my grandparents. My Gigi is actually watching right now from Fort McPherson. It's really I'm really nervous, but I'm really thankful for technology today that keep us connected, whether it's online. If I want to really go way back, I wouldn't be here without the resiliency of my ancestors and the work that they did back then, and the strength they had to move forward, whether it was through weather, cold weather, or starvation, or residential schools, or just the life that we live in today with all the changes that are happening. It can be really overwhelming, and because of their life and their strength, and mostly because of their love, as a Gwich'in person or as an Indigenous person here on the land, I just want to acknowledge them, because when I walk into the Peel watershed or anywhere on Indigenous land, which is like all over, I feel strong and I feel their strength and I feel their love. And for me, I'm always thankful each day that I get up and be able to be here. And it also comes from my grandparents as well, who raised me, my Gigi, Robert and Dorothy, and my mom and my late dad. They raised me out on the land at a young age, and for them to let me be me and teach me everything that I know and be patient, and sometimes they're really strict, but you know, in the middle of everything, I thought I knew that I was in paradise. And at a really young age, they taught us to understand and see the changes and the life around us out on the land. And even as a little kid, seeing that beauty with the changes of the seasons, we learn and we see that, and we grow up learning that, even as we're picking medicine from the trees or the land or just getting water, that we learn that we don't take too much. We only take what we need. And we keep some for tomorrow and the future generations. That is, people would call that like innovative, or sustainable, but that's just like our way of life. And it's probably one of the reasons why I'm here. And with those teachings, and being able to travel around with my people in Gwich'in land, on Gwich'in land, my grandparents, my grandfathers got me up in a public space and got me to speak, because I traveled and understand. I didn't know then. I thought they just wanted me to go speak up there because I, talk too much. But like, I see it now. I really see why they wanted me up on that stage, and to learn and to grow and to travel around at the Peel court case, or speak with people and listen to them and hear their stories. And I'm really honored to be able to go through that, because through the Peel court case, I got to listen to a lot of people, hear their stories, listen to why they want the Peel to be protected. I got to sit around with amazing, well-known elders who I feel, I don't know, we'll see elders like that again. They were just so amazing. And I got to see them cry, which is really sad, but at the end we all celebrated, and the peel is like just about almost protected. It's not really yet, but it is. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to the peel. There's so much to talk about. And if I was able to talk about the peel here right now, I would be talking for days. Just talking about the peel watershed and the importance of why we did it. But I'd rather talk about the time that the time now that I get to spend in that area. And since 2015, I got to paddle a few of the rivers now multiple times. Each time it feels like the first time I go into the peel, because it shows me a different side of itself every time. And before I go into the peel, the elders share more stories with me, or I learn more. And, this is what I feel my ancestors wanted, for us to go be out there, back out on the land. And now today, through Indigenous Adventures and the Indigenous Youth River Guide training and partners, I'm able to do that every summer, the Guadalupe. But yeah, I'm living the dream. I'm totally living the dream. Be like, Bobbi, what are you doing? I work with the Western Arctic Youth Collective during the winter, summers, and spring. And then after that, I take vacation and paddle the peel or other northern rivers in the north, living the dream. I get to work with youth and do community programming and everything in between. And it's all because of my people and the people around us and the land and the water. There's one thing that I wanted to say is that when we're talking about, and this is how come I'm here, I feel is because, we were a big part in protecting the peel, and it was so hard. And like I said at the beginning, I spent half of my life protecting the peel, which is like, that's an honor for me, because it taught me a lot, and like my peel river family raised me. But when we're talking about, or when we're seeing Indigenous people trying to protect their land, we have to learn how to listen and understand and support them and understand why they're protecting land. There was a meeting a couple of days ago, me and my best friend were talking about it, COPE meetings, or what do we call it? The big national worldwide meetings. And the subject around climate change came up. And for a young person to travel my, home, and to be able to see the changes and the impacts of climate change happening right before me, and happening at a rapid pace, climate change is real. And when Indigenous people are trying to protect land, climate change is not only the reason, but it's to bring our people back out on the land to, live that good life, or to understand who and where they come from, because it makes us stronger inside, but also give us the strength to paddle forward. So when we see Indigenous protecting land or wanting to protect land, know that when people or Indigenous people go out there, that's part of adaptation and mitigation. And it's such a vital part of my life that I literally turned it into the work that I do, is to bring more people out on the land, to let them understand and listen and see why we're protecting land. This award is great. And I really appreciate it so much. But I can't accept it alone, so I'd like to dedicate it to the whole Peel River family, all the organizations that helped us, to the people who believed in my dreams and supported me, to the team that I get to work with, and to the youth today. If they have dreams, like, you know, go for it, because they call this a lifetime award. I'm not like, you know, not that old. Well, I feel old, but I'm not that old, but like, you know, this award is for all of us, for everyone. So, Masicho, Height, Gwynedd, Miigwech, Punani, merci. Thank you. Is that good? I feel like I missed something.
That was awesome. Thanks, Bobbi Rose. That was truly incredible. And thank you for honoring us and accepting this award. You've been a leader. You're our guide when it comes to the Peel. But I think you have to go and do something with these awards and then get started on your next Lifetime Achievement Award, which is we're just starting the work on the Peel. So I think with your leadership and with all the partners, eventually we'll get a finished paddle and something that'll be useful. And I appreciate the work that you've done so far. And I thank you in advance for the hard work we need to do together going forward. So thank you so much. I'd also like to thank all of our partners who helped put this together, the Canadian Canoe Museum. Big hats off to Adele and CPAWS for making the technology work, and Adam at the Kwanlin Dün Cultural Centre. I feel like we're not just talking out into the interwebs, we actually connected with a few people. Hopefully your Gigi got to see us. That would be fantastic. If not, this will be recorded and put on a couple of different locations. So yeah, you can watch this again and again and again if you want, Bobbi Rose.
No. Oh, look, I'll tell my Gigi. Look, Gigi, I paddled this canoe.
Oh yeah, the story on the canoe. This actually, you spent some time in that canoe.
Yeah, I spent 10 days in this, we call it Utsawa. It's a grandmother canoe, and I paddled it down the Yukon River. It was my first official guided trip as a river guide. Was with this canoe. It was so hard, but it was so rewarding. It's a beautiful canoe.
We're surrounded by history at the Kwanlin Dün Cultural Centre, and we're making history. I think those are two fantastic things. Awesome. So that's it for our presentation. And again, a big thanks to everybody involved, and a special thanks to Bobbi Rose to, getting all your lifetime done, in a hurry up mode. Thank you, and have a great afternoon, everyone.